Just today in Rise of Kingdoms, Lilith fully revealed the next Archer Rally Commander, Ashurbanipal, and they showed off all of his skills in detail in an English version. So in today's video, I'm going to go over everything you need to know about Ashurbanipal. Which commanders will he work well with? Is he going to be a meta rally? Will he counter the smite meta, or is he just a dud commander? So if you're interested in Ashurbanipal, my thoughts on him as a pure archer account, someone that's played archers for almost 1,000 days, and also you just want to see his skills, you want to stick around till the end of the video. Now let's start off today's video by just getting right into his skills, because this wouldn't be a video about the new archer commander if we spoke about it sitting and looking at the old archer commanders. So right now I'm going to flick over to Ashurbanipal's skills. Now here is Ashurbanipal, King of Assyria, the next rally commander coming to the game. He is an archer conquering skill commander, and let's just get straight into his active skills. The first one is the skill Babylonian. It deals direct damage to 5 enemy troops in a fan-shaped area. Wait, sorry, I thought I was reading Nebuchadnezzar's active skill there, my bad. His active skill, his first skill, is from the Nile to the Tigris. He deals direct damage to up to 5 enemy troops in a fan-shaped area. Damage factor 1500. Every additional target reduces damage to each by 15%. And he also deals extra damage to the current target of his troops, and this is an extra 1000 just direct single target damage factor. So basically Lilith has gotten Nebuchadnezzar's active skill, put his expertise on Ashurbanipal's version. So Ashurbanipal, his expertise is different, but this skill, an unexpertise active skill, is like getting Nebu's expertise and just putting it on a skill. So basically we've got Nebu's skill reskinned as the active skill, and to be honest, it's obviously going to be a strong skill. It's got a 5 target AoE, it's got good single target damage if he is a rally commander, so he's got anti-swarm, and he's got that AoE kind of mixed in there with good DPS against the target that he's attacking. His next skill is actually called Hawked Eye. This is again a very, very similar skill to Nebuchadnezzar, and the skill just says he gains 20% attack, and while outside of Alliance territory, his archer units gain 20% defense and 15% march speed. So that second part of the skill right there, 20% defense, 15% march speed, is literally Nebuchadnezzar's second skill just redone again. So that is insane. And then the first part of the skill, the 20% attack, is the extra thing you're adding. So once again, this is just going to be a strong skill. Keep in mind though, it's more open field related rather than rally related, because unlike Nebuchadnezzar, his defense and march speed for Ashurbanipal only occurs when he's not on Alliance territory. So as a rally, you're pretty much always going to be on Alliance territory. I mean, when you're walking there, you might not be, but for the most part, he's going to be on Alliance territory. And for that reason, you're not going to really benefit from this defense and the march speed, which you normally wouldn't care about march speed in a rally, but you're not going to benefit from the defense when you're rallying. You're only going to have that 20% attack. But that defense and march speed are really good if you want to take him out on the open field, because there are definitely lots of situations where you're on no territory and you're just fighting it out. And in a ruined situation, once again, that march speed is going to be really, really useful. Now, Ashurbanipal's third skill, the Conqueror of Elam, has two main parts to it. The first part is this commander's troop deals 20% more skill damage, and this applies to the open field. Because there's a full stop there, we know it's going to work on the open field. But then the second part of the skill says whenever this troop uses an active skill while attacking a city or stronghold, the target deals 20% less normal attack damage for the next 3 seconds. So he's dealing a debuff right there on his third skill, and it's a very good debuff to put onto smite commanders. And we're going to notice that Ashurbanipal is really made to counter that Gorgo garrison, but not actually that amazing at countering a Lao Che on the open field, because this second part of his third skill is only really going to be here whenever he's attacking a city or stronghold. So whenever he's in a rally, whenever you're swarming something. So for the open field, you won't be benefiting from this debuff, but you will get 20% more skill damage, which is a fairly nice boost, especially since Ashur is rocking a pretty okay amount of AoE, and you're probably going to put him with someone like Henry who has good single target damage, so the skill damage bonus is definitely a nice thing to have, and the normal damage reduction is a very direct way of countering a Gorgo garrison, so I do actually like those two parts of that skill, and they're both going to be fairly valuable. Then for Ashur's fourth skill, the way it works is he just takes 15% less normal damage. Once again, really made to counter the Gorgo garrison. It's pretty good against Lao Che on the open field, but it's only going to be alright when you're taking AoE. For the most part, if a Lao Che is hammering into you, he's going to deal a ton of smite damage still, even though you are taking less normal damage. But keep in mind, this is still a nice thing to have in a rally situation. It gives you anti-swarm, and it's also a nice thing to have on the open field in general, because less normal damage is less normal damage, and it's going to save you 7 wounds. The next part of his fourth skill says, if this commander is leading a rally attack, whenever their rallied army deals direct damage, they have a 50% chance to gain a 3% bonus to skill damage dealt for 10 seconds. This effect can stack up to 10 times, then its duration resets whenever it gains another attack. So pretty much right there, that is almost like the Gilgamesh third skill, I'm pretty sure, where he just gradually keeps gaining attack. And dealing direct damage is fairly easy. It lasts 10 seconds, and that means you're going to get an active skill twice and just completely just rinse this. Every single time you're in a rally, the longer it goes, the stronger Ashura is going to get. So really, really good skill right there for open field rallies, because you can get up to a 30% skill damage increase. And pretty much, as long as you're not being like silent spammed, you're going to have that basically stack up forever. So once you reach 10 stacks, you're going to be at 10 stacks, because once a rally is on a target, it doesn't go off. So for the most part, that's a fairly good skill to have when you're rallying, and it's going to gradually get stronger the longer the rally goes on. But do keep in mind, this is also going to be good for anti-swarm, because the more skill damage he is doing, the more skill damage the other people are going to take because of his AoE. So Ashurbanipal's got really good AoE, he's got really, really solid damage, and he's got some pretty good anti-swarm things in there, including his AoE, which is going to help him in the long run on the open field. Because if you're dealing a ton of damage to your opponents, then they're going to take a ton of damage, which means you take less damage when they swarm you. It's just really, really simple. Then for Ashurbanipal's expertise, this skill is a little bit RNG based, but the way it works is, whenever this troop uses an active skill, it gains one of the following buffs for 4 seconds, chosen at random: 30% attack, 30% defense, 30% health, or 20% more normal damage, or 20% more skill damage. And this is a really strong skill if it triggers the right things. And even then, it's still a fairly powerful skill, because the way it works is, you could get a 20% more skill damage and a 20% more normal attack to go together, because what I can see here doesn't look like there is some form of a cooldown, because it's just whenever he uses an active skill. It can be his skill or a primary commander or even a secondary commander, because an active skill is still an active skill. So every single time a commander drops their skill, you're going to get 2 of these buffs pretty much every skill cycle. So you could get 30% health and then deal 20% more normal damage, or 20% skill damage and 30% health. Some really crazy buffs like that. And this is just an overall powerful skill. The stuff you could get from this in one skill cycle is insane, and it's a 4-second buff. So it's not 5 seconds and it's not 3 seconds. It's kind of in between what we normally see. So it's a pretty good time. It's solid buffs right there, and it's definitely a strong expertise. And for the open field, it's also going to be powerful, because 20% more skill damage is a strong thing to have. And if you're able to deal that damage, you're going to be a pretty formidable opponent on the open field. So Ashurbanipal's expertise is also fairly valuable. So now that we've looked at all of Ashurbanipal's skills, what can I really take away from them? Because of course, there are some interesting things here, some stuff we haven't really seen before, but also some things we have seen before. And the first thing I can take away is his AoE is going to be good on the open field. I think that's just a very obvious thing. A 5-target AoE in a fan-shaped area is powerful, and from my personal experience using Nebuchadnezzar, who has a pretty much identical AoE, his 5-target AoE is still very powerful nowadays. He just lacks in other regards, such as defensive stats and a few other things. But to be honest, if you bring Nebu's AoE onto another commander like Lilith is doing with Ashur here, we can pretty much assure ourselves, we can assure ourselves that his AoE is going to be good on the field, and it's going to give you some decent trades. And then the extra single target damage coming with this skill, it's not like you have to expertise him, is a nice buff to Nebu's active skill pretty much. And it's going to allow you to get extra damage on a target you're mainly hitting, which means he's going to work in a one-on-one situation, because he'll deal like a total of like 1,800 direct damage plus the AoE. And he's also going to be good in a rally, because if no one's nearby, he's going to do 2,500 damage factor. And if he is dealing AoE damage, he's just decimating a ton of marches on the open field. So Ashurbanipal's active skill right off the bat is really powerful, and it gives him a lot of open field potential just straight out the gate. The next thing I'm also liking is the march speed off territory and the defense, something that gave Nebu a lot of credit, because his defense, powerful thing. His march speed, very powerful. And while it's only off alliance territory, when you're on alliance territory, you're often buffed like hell. So you'll be fine when you're on alliance territory. It's really when you're getting off alliance territory that you want those buffs. So for the most part, once again, I'm liking that second skill for the open field. As for his third skill, it's a bit more rally related, but there's good skill damage there that's going to once again help his really decent AoE. And if you put another AoE commander behind him like YSG or like Zulang, who he definitely has the potential to work with, because like Nebu with YSG, Ashurbanipal with YSG has potential, and that means more skill damage, more powerful. And that's something Nebu didn't really have. He didn't really have the extra skill damage. Yes, Nebu had some all damage, but the amount of skill damage Ashurbanipal can deal is much higher than Nebu, which means commanders like YSG, Herman, Zulang, they're going to deal extra damage as well. And even Nebu himself, if put with Ashurbanipal, could do extra damage. The next part of his kit, I'm loving the normal attack reduction here. It's going to help somewhat with those Lauches and also generally on the open field. And then his expertise, like I said, is really, really interesting. Getting those 2 random buffs every active skill, unless there is a cooldown, but I can't see one. And also nice normal attack damage increases and stuff like attack in here and skill damage. So there's an all-around really, really good and unique kit here, something we haven't fully seen. Yes, a lot copied from Nebu, but also some of his own unique stuff, which is going to be powerful and strong, especially against the current garrison meta and the current open field meta. So now that we've gotten a nice look at a raw possibility of what Ashurbanipal could do on the open field and could do as a rally, what commander pairings do I think are going to work with him? And we'll start off with his main open field pairings. And the first one that's just going to work is Zulang. This is because Zuj is a commander who needs someone who's got some tankiness. He wants someone who has an AoE because he is boosting a lot of skill damage. He wants someone with march speed because he has no march speed. And another thing a lot of people overlook with Zulang is he has no defense. That's one reason why the Nebuchadnezzar pair works pretty decently with Zuj, because Zuj has got no defense and Zuj has no march speed. Nebu has march speed, so a commander like Ashurbanipal is going to do very good with Zulang because he has march speed, he has defense, and he's got some tankiness with him. So I'm just going to say Ashurbanipal will work with Zulang, and also Ashur has the Conquering Tree, which once again is a powerful tree to have with a commander like Zulang who's not very tanky because taking this counterattack is obviously a valuable thing, and then also this skill tree is just strong all around, especially with archer commanders who really benefit from it. So Zulang, really good pairing. Another one, YSG is going to be a good pairing for almost the exact same reasons as Zulang. One other reason that YSG will work a little bit better is because a lot of the stats Ashurbanipal gains on his expertise, YSG doesn't have. So health, YSG's got none. Normal attack damage, YSG's got none. Defense, YSG's got none. Whereas for Zulang, Zuj has obviously got skill damage, he's got some amount of health, he's got some amount of attack, but YSG is missing a fair amount of Ashurbanipal's expertise buffs, which will make him very good with an expertise Ashur, at least slightly better than with an unexpertised one. And then the other commander that will work pretty well, I think, is Nebuchadnezzar for pretty obvious reasons. You've got the double 5 target AoE right there. They're both dealing some extra damage to a single target if expertised. Obviously, Ashur's skill is still slightly stronger. Nebuchadnezzar is bringing a rage reduction, something that Ashurbanipal doesn't bring, and also is giving an all damage increase, once again something Ashur doesn't bring. And then also Nebuchadnezzar has more defense and march speed, but mainly the march speed there you're going to really like in that pairing if you're off alliance territory, because 30% archer march speed is a lot of march speed, and I can say confidently, when I ran Nebuchadnezzar with Cyrus, it's probably one of the fastest marches on the open field, because that 30% march speed is just absolutely insane, and you can get out of pretty much any situation. Like, I walked into the enemy murder ball just to drop a skill cycle, and I got out with like 1,000 saves because they're just that quick. So Ashurbanipal with Nebu is also going to work. One last pairing I will give like an honorable mention for the open field. If you're looking to run Ashur as a secondary, he'll also work. There's nothing that really in his kit says he has to be a primary or he has to be with certain commanders. I'd say he's pretty well-rounded, so Boudica Prime, Henry, any real okay archer commander is going to do well with him, because Boudica obviously is going to benefit from having an AoE secondary. She's got march speed, she's got stuff like more normal attack damage bonuses, she's got more skill damage taken reduction, she's probably one of the more tanky archer commanders, and she's got a good skill damage taken increase to put on the opponent to make Ashur's single target damage and AoE deal more damage. So Boudica Prime, Henry, and even Herman Prime will be fairly decent pairings with Ashur himself. Now, as for the Archer Rally meta, which commanders do I think are going to work really well with Ashurbanipal? And the first one that's going to be very obvious to everybody, Henry. I mean, who wouldn't have guessed it? Henry is going to be a good pairing with Ashur, and in that situation, you probably want to run Ashur as the primary to benefit from that skill tree a lot, because that skill tree really does get an extra quick rage cycle in those situations, and Henry is still a fairly strong rally commander even without that support tree. Keep in mind also, Henry's got a lot of skill damage taken increased buffs onto the opponent. Once again, Ashur is basically benefiting from that, especially when you're rallying, because that is only a rally skill. Henry is dealing more counter attack damage when he's a rally. It gives Ashur more basically anti-swarm right there, because the more anti-swarm the better. Henry's got a really solid active skill with even more skill damage taken reductions. Once again, more anti-swarm for Ashur, because yes, he's got anti-swarm in the form of AoE, but if he's getting like 20 swarmed, you want something like a Henry there to give some more tankiness. Also, Ashurbanipal is going to really benefit from Henry's Welsh longbow skill here, because that 20% defense Henry is going to give will only apply when he's on territory, whereas for Ashurbanipal, his is only off territory. So Henry's works anywhere, Ashur is only off territory. So Henry's defense is really good right there. Also, normal attack damage reductions and extra normal attack he's giving to Henry will be good things, and even the extra skill damage from his expertise are also going to be fairly good things. Plus, keep in mind that Henry is going to take less normal attack damage himself if he has less than 70% rage. So Henry with Ashurbanipal is a very solid pairing. There's lots of synergy going on with the normal attack damage and also with Henry's skill damage and tankiness. Another rally pairing that might work, and this one's a bit iffy, might be Nebuchadnezzar, because they're very similar kits, Ashurbanipal and Nebu, and Nebu's got a 5-target AoE, Nebu's got defense, Nebu's got a lot of counterattack damage, he's got more damage factor when people attack him, and he's got a march speed reduction. I don't know why that's there, but that is there. So Nebu has some potential with Ashurbanipal, especially since it's like having 2 AoEs in a rally, which could be anti-swarm, but also do keep in mind that sometimes I think Nebu is a bit outdated in terms of the rally meta. So for now, we'll have to see where this one goes. This is a more like shot in the dark. I'm not too sure if it's going to really work, but I'm pretty sure the Henry March will work very well with the Ashurbanipal, and it's probably going to become the new rally meta, especially against those Gorgo garrisons, which are so dominant right now. But Nebu definitely has some potential, though I'm not too sure if it's really going to end up as a main meta rally. Maybe for the anti-swarm, but then I think you'd probably just go a Henry with a Nebu, because it's even more tanky. So we'll have to see when Ashur's fully in the game, if Nebuchadnezzar makes a comeback, but to be honest, I'm kind of on the fence about this one, I'm not too sure. So now that we've made it to the end of today's video, I'm going to ask you guys for a real quick favor, and that is, tell me in the comments down below, what do you think of Ashurbanipal? Is there like a really good commander pairing that I may have missed? Do you think he might work with Gilgamesh, or will he revive Ramses? Whatever you think about Ashurbanipal, let me know in the comments down below. I read every comment, I respond to every comment, and I always find them interesting. So if you think that there's a commander out there that's going to work with Ashurbanipal that I completely missed, let me know in the comments. I'm really interested to hear it. And also, if you think that I was wrong about anything, you think maybe this commander pairing won't work, also let me know in the comments down below. Now, I just want to say thank you for watching, guys. See you in the next one.